Okay, good morning. Before we start the 26th of Iyar, 26, yes. Let us please have refuah shleimus for those in need.
Okay, Devorah Rachel, bat Miriam Kava, Baruch Benyamin, ben Rachel Blima, Sylvia Chaya, bat Leah Masha, Miriam Esther, bat Shulamit.
Refuah shlema bekorev.
Bas Elisa Hana, Hava Daniela Bas Naomi Hana, Shoshana Bas Hana. Pastor Rivka, did you say Baruch Benyamin?
Yes, she did.
She did. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Akiva asked if did you didn't record yesterday?
I intended to.
Oh, he couldn't find it on the YouTube.
Oh, I don't think my brother posted it yet. For some reason, he was busy yesterday.
Oh, okay.
I'll check in with him, but thank you. Okay. So, yeah. Hayom Yom. Hod should be a sod. Hod should be a sod. Let's see if this, or what this day has to tell us about Hod should be a sod. 26. A command is a commandment in Vayikra. You shall rebuke. You shall rebuke your fellow. Is preceded by the words, you shall not hate your brother. So this gives us a sense of rebuke has to be done not with anger or hatred. For this not hating your brother is a precondition for the rebuke. The Torah continues, and you shall not ascribe to him sin. Or if the rebuke was ineffectual, you are certainly the one responsible. For yours were not words coming from the heart. As our sages say in Hebrew, Devorim hayotzi min halev, words which come from the heart, nichnosim, the Knesses, are gathered into the heart. And does that have something to do with Hod Sheb Yesod? You bet.
Yesod Sheb Yesod.
Huh?
I think it's Yesod Sheb Yesod.
Today is Yesod? Am I wrong? I could be wrong. It happens. Somebody tell me. Okay.
Yeah. It's Yesod should be Yesod.
Oh, well, even better. Then, thank you. Then
I think so. Yeah.
Well, let's just take Yesod, okay? Yesod is foundation. That's a simple word of it. But it's the fundament of all relationships. It's also translated as bonding. Bonding, the way to make a bond with someone, a foundational connection with somebody, that's called Yesod. And the way that you do that in this Hayom Yom is you do it by being open and not being full of anger. And you're seeing something that needs to be corrected. But if you want to realize that connection, Pastor Rivka, could you please mute yourself, Leo? The way to realize that connection is to be open, to be humble, as he said. The words were not coming from the heart. The words have to come from the heart. Okay. Shekayah. Lessons in Tanya. Starting here, we're continuing where we were. We're continuing this chapter. We're on page 776. Did I use the 26, correct? Yes. The 26th of the year. And here in the Kuti Amorim, it starts on page Ayin Beis, and from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's a period in the middle of the line. All right, so to get rolling into this, quick recap, right? We started, and this whole really piece is defining the Shekhinah. And the analogy for the Shekhinah is the soul itself. The soul, as the mashal in the Zohar says, the light of Hashem, the oil which lights the lantern. The oil doesn't look like it's that it has a power to light, but it has a power to light. And it sits on top of the head, al raishai. So just like the head sits on top of a person, so the Shekhinah rests on top of Hashem. What does it mean? Of the revelations of Hashem. That's important. Roll back, not Hashem, but the revelations of Hashem. The Shekhinah is the place, and it's also, we got a third piece of this metaphor going, in the Holy of Holies in the temple. Right? The temple was called the Mishkan. There's a temple in the desert, it was called the Mishkan. Mishkan from Lashon Shachen, which is Shekhinah. The Shekhinah dwelt there, and it beamed out all of its specific energies out into the world. The neshama dwells on top of our head, and it starts its process of differentiating and beaming into all the parts of our body inside our head in the power of Chokhmah. Similarly, the Ein Sof itself, before he emanates light, is called the Ein Sof, the infinite one. That's Hashem undifferentiated. That's also the notion of Keser. That's the crown. And Keser Malchus. Malchus is associated with Shekhinah, and Keser is the crown of the king. And that becomes differentiated first in the Spira of Chokhmah. So all of these three things, Hashem himself and his emanations, the soul itself and her emanations, the Kodesh Kodashim itself and its emanations, all are wrapped into this mashal of that we have here about how the Shekhinah rests on top of a person. Now, since that's the fact, so a person, as we said yesterday, should really take to heart the tremendous power and the tremendous divinity that's resting upon you. Particularly, as our sages have said, on any group of 10 that get together, the Shekhinah dwells, and they go on and say, even on one person who's oisik b'Torah, who's occupied in Torah. That's why the halach is you have to, if a person is even not a Talmud Chacham, but I walk into a Beis HaMidrash and an average man, average person is sitting there learning Torah, you have to stand up because the Shekhinah is dwelling there. So, now we can start. So therefore, v'hahevdel, okay, one more piece. And that undifferentiated energy, dwelling in the Holy is dwelling in the Ein Sof itself, dwelling in the Shekhinah on top of the head, that undifferentiated energy becomes differentiated through a process which we call tzimtzum. And that tzimtzum is mitzamtzum into 613 general powers, which are corresponding to the 613 general body parts, which correspond to the generalization of the 613 mitzvahs. So with this energy of Ein Sof that's on top of your head, one draws it into oneself and into the world through the revelatory powers of each and every mitzvah. Now, Benimsa comes out. The difference, using that part of the mashal which has to do with God's singularity, beaming itself, dividing itself, megala, revealing itself into many different parts. So the difference between upper worlds and lower worlds, or you could say upper parts, the head, versus the other coarser parts of the body. So the difference between upper worlds and lower worlds, has to do not with the source of the light, but with the drawing of the light and life force, Asher Ein Sof Baruch Hu Mamshich Umer, which the infinite one, blessed be he, that's the state of allness, infinity before differentiation, draws down Umer and causes to shine the Bechinas Gili in a manner of revelation, Mehahelam, from the concealment. So just like God manifests his allness through tzimtzumim, and tzimtzumim bespeaks various degrees of revelation. So the soul, in its allness, and it's all-encompassing, right? The life force is everywhere present in the body equally. Every corpuscle has life in it, right? The differentiation of whether it's a cell, let's say, that's associated with a fingernail versus a cell that's associated with the brain has to do with the quality of revelation of the soul. From a state of revelation into concealment. There's a contraction. This is one of the reasons that the drawing down, the flow and the drawing down of life force, or. It's called or Ein Sof. It's not called the radiator. It's called the light. Light comes from a radiator. So again, the radiator, the undifferentiated radiator, is the soul. The soul goes through tzimtzumim, contractions, differentiations, exactly like commercial, like God goes from a state of absolute simplicity to a state of multiplicity through the tzimtzumim. The soul goes through that state also, from simplicity to revelation, from the concealment. The concealment is a state of simplicity. In order to enliven the worlds, and the creatures which are within them. This is back to God, right? The marshal of God enlivening the worlds. The upper worlds, they receive a little bit more of revelation than the lower world. I was struck by this, a little bit more, meaning that even the world of, we call it Tzilis, is just a little bit of what we call the Ein Sof himself, because really they're totally incomparable. Remember, we had a mashal that number versus higher than number versus higher than number. No matter how big the number, and then here I'm saying the analogies, no matter how high the world, it's still in the state of concealment. You have to go out of the realm of numbering entirely, out of the realm of worlds entirely, before you come to the Ein Sof himself. So even Atzilus is just a little bit. In fact, it's explained in a drush in Chassidus, Kulam b'chochma asisa. The pasuk says, Kulam b'chochma asisa, that everything is made with God's wisdom. But the drush is, even chochma elah, the chochma of Atzilus, is like the world of Asiya. It's just like the lowest of all worlds in relation to the Ein Sof. So everything receives just a little bit of revelation. And the upper ones get, of course, more than the lower ones. B'chol habirurim back inside, b'chol habirurim shebehem, and all the creatures in all these worlds, they're makablim, each and every one of them, kol echad, each and every one of them receives, according to its power and its structure. Shahu tachunes ubechinas hamshachas haprantis, because the light is designed to fit the vessel. So according to the structure of the vessel will be the nature of the gilui, the beam of light which fills it. So according to tachanusa, shehi tachanusa ubechinas hamshachas haprantis, so each one gets a specific, each body part, each world, this is our mashal here, each world gets specifically what's designed for its ability to contain it. The or is be'erech hakeli, is comparable to the vessel. Asher or Ein Sof Baruch Hu, by which process the or Ein Sof himself, the or Ein Sof, may he be blessed, mamshich draws down, umoirle, and radiates to that particular world, or in our expression here about the soul and the body, to the particular body part. Now the lower worlds, even though they're spiritual, In the Mekablim Bibichinas Gili Kol Kag, they don't receive so much. Rak Bilabushim Murabim, they receive through more garments, right? Put on shirt after shirt after shirt, which conceals, but that's exactly what that world needs, because it can't be, it's not a vessel for the deeper, higher light. It will be blown apart. So each one receives, according to Levuchim Rabim, many dressings, Asher Ein Saborach Malbish Bahem, with which the Infinite One encloses himself in those worlds. And enclosed himself in that world means he's giving them a gilui, a revelation. That revelation is the chayas, the life force. A chayas v'ha'or, that's the life force and the light. I mean, light is a metaphor, right? Just make that clear. Light is a metaphor. It's because the metaphor is very simple, that when you see light from a light source, whether it be a fire or a flashlight, the beautiful thing about this, two things about this metaphor. One, it's not the source, it's something coming from the source. And at the same time, the other beautiful thing is it's connected to the source. The light would go out if the source goes out. So all the Or Ein Sof, no matter how distilled, no matter how contracted, and into our nimshal here, the body, the soul itself, which permeates everything, no matter how contracted, whether it be into a fingernail, or a toe, is still connected with and drawing down the infinity of the soul. But its expression is very narrow, because it's getting the Or, it's getting the energy and the light. Hashem mamshich omer lahem lahachayosem, just the amount of light which is fitting to be drawn down to them in order to enliven them. And that's today's Tanya. So, I mean, the most important thing, I think, if you can think differently, it's fine, from all of this, is to realize that we're carrying the Iyar Ein Sof with us. Mashal that was given in Tillim is like a helmet, and we talked about yesterday, like a piece of armament, like something. This is our strength. This is our power. This is the koyach of the Jew, carrying infinity within a basket, a bucket, a body, and getting the rays of that infinity in each and every part of our body, and bringing those rays to the fore so that they shine into the world through the 613 mitzvahs, which correspond to the 613 body parts. Comments? Questions? Okay, I hope that's clear. Ubechein. Therefore, so what? Nice to know, but so what? Come on. Gotcha.
I don't know. I'm just thinking that, with the Shekhinah on top of my head, and the Shekhinah is in Gullus with us, just have this idea, that Hashem is always right above us, as we make every decision, as he stands with us in giving us the strength to do the positive things to do and to stay away from the negative things. But it's also, you have Hashem with you all the time. There's never, I mean, I'm not sure if this is exactly, what it's saying, but for me, there's this reality of, I didn't know that the Shekhinah was resting on top. I knew there was Chachma, I knew there was Keser, but I didn't realize that it was Shekhinah right here, right on top of.
Well, that's a beautiful realization. He's resting on top, and he's subsequently, or in addition, permeating everything.
And permeating
every body part permeated with him. And all we have to do, I mean, it's an avoida, of course, is to let it shine. And how do you let it shine? Through Torah and mitzvahs. Again, I keep harping on this. I know you hear it every day when I'm doing. Mitzvah is miloshin savta, veribar, connection. So he's there for the taking. And when we take him, meaning when we live the life of mitzvahs, doing them, yasisa, we are allowing him himself to be expressed in the world. And that is what we call geula. We bring the geula. It's up to us. The Rebbe told us how many times. And it's up to us. Don't say, oh, we have all the equipment. Just utilize it. Good. Pesha Rivka.
Hi. I would like you to distinguish between, I think it got a little,
What? Between what?
distinguish between Ein Sof and Or Ein Sof. I think you did it places, but in some places, I think it was confused because we're talking about the mushroom, of course, the sun and the rays of the sun.
Well, it's very simple. Or Ein Sof is the emanator. Ein Sof, the Ein Sof is the emanator, and the Or Ein Sof is the giluyim from the emanator.
Right, right. And there's the Or and the Or, right.
That's
okay. But I think because the text makes a difference. It says Ein Sof.
Sure. Okay. Ein Sof and Or Ein Sof. When he refers to Ein Sof, for instance, you'll see it counting down from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hine mahusi v'atzmusa shel Ein Sof baruch hu. That's the essence. And then the Or Ein Sof is the gilui through the tzimtzum of the rays from the Ein Sof. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so we got what to do today. Mir Hashem, we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank